I know you're probably not going to watch this video till the end. Most people don't. But here's the catch. If you stick with me until the end, I guarantee that your perspective on life and death will be changed forever. You'll walk away with a deeper understanding of what it means to live fully and to die peacefully. Perhaps even with a smile. Let's face it, death is one of those topics most of us avoid like the plague. We go through life pretending it's something that only happens to other people. Or maybe we think we have plenty of time before we need to deal with it ourselves. But here's a hard truth. Death is coming for all of us. No one gets out of life alive. Yet what if we could change the way we view death? What if, instead of fearing it, we could approach it with peace, acceptance, and even joy? Imagine for a moment dying with a smile on your face, feeling complete, fulfilled, and at peace with the world. This might sound far-fetched, but stick with me. We're going to dive deep into ancient wisdom from Indian culture and philosophy that could change everything you thought you knew about death and life. Most people go through life fearing death. We imagine it as this dark, looming event full of pain, regret, and fear. Many of us carry the weight of unfulfilled dreams, unresolved conflicts, and the anxiety of the unknown. Society has conditioned us to avoid the topic entirely. Death is something to be postponed, something tragic, something to fear. But here's the thing. When you spend your life running from death, you're not really living. Fear of death causes us to make decisions out of anxiety and desperation. It holds us back from taking risks, from mending relationships, and from pursuing our true passions. And that fear grows stronger with every passing day, because deep down we know that eventually we will have to face it. But what if I told you that many people have found a way to face death with peace, and some even with joy? It's possible. You just have to learn how to live in such a way that when death arrives, it's not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. And the key to this transformation lies in a powerful shift of perspective, grounded in ancient stories, wisdom, and practical actions. Let's take a journey back to one of the greatest Indian epics, the Mahabharata. In it, there's a fascinating scene involving Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas. After his brothers fall victim to a lake spirit for drinking water without answering its questions, Yudhishthira approaches the same lake and is posed a riddle by the spirit. What is the greatest wonder in the world? Yudhishthira answers, day after day, countless people die, yet the living act as if they will live forever. This profound observation is a cornerstone of the way we live our lives. We know death is inevitable, but we live as though it will never touch us. We distract ourselves with the trivial, the mundane, all while avoiding the one certainty of life, its end. Now, let's look at another powerful story from Indian mythology. The death of Bhishma, a warrior and statesman from the same epic. Bhishma had a special boon from the gods. He could choose the moment of his death. Even after being grievously wounded in battle, he lay on a bed of arrows, waiting for the right moment to depart from this world. But Bhishma didn't simply wait. He spent his final days imparting wisdom to those around him. He shared teachings about duty, ethics, and governance, ensuring that his death was not merely an ending, but a final act of service. When the right moment came, Bhishma died with a smile on his face, content that he had lived according to his values and completed his duty. This concept of Icha Mrityu, or the ability to choose the moment of death, may seem fantastical, but it's actually a metaphor for living life with purpose and intention. Bhishma teaches us that when we live well, when we fulfill our responsibilities, pursue our passions, and nurture our relationships, we can meet death with grace. We may not literally choose the time of our death, but we can certainly choose how we approach it. One of the most powerful lessons we can learn from Indian spirituality is the concept of surrender, letting go of our attachment to control. We fear death because we can't control it, and that fear often manifests as anxiety and dread. But what if we could surrender? Not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of accepting that some things are beyond our control. Death is one of those things. Let's look at the story of Draupadi, another key character from the Mahabharata. When she was publicly humiliated and faced imminent disgrace, she fought with all her might to protect herself. But it wasn't until she surrendered completely, calling out to Lord Krishna for help, that her honor was miraculously preserved. Her surrender wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a profound act of trust in the divine. Similarly, when we accept that death is beyond our control, we open ourselves up to peace. Surrendering to death doesn't mean we stop living. It means we stop resisting the inevitable, and in doing so, we free ourselves to live more fully. This idea of surrender is echoed in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, "The wise are not deluded by death, for they know the soul is eternal beyond birth and death." If we can internalize this message, if we can accept that death is not the end, but a transition, then we can begin to approach life and death with serenity. Now, here's where the real transformation happens. By now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. Accept death. Live with purpose. Surrender control. But how does this change anything? How does this actually help me die with a smile? Here's the secret. Once you make peace with death, you begin to live without fear. And when you live without fear, life opens up in unimaginable ways. Think of Mahatma Gandhi's final moments. After a life devoted to truth and nonviolence, Gandhi was assassinated while on his way to prayer. His last words, "Hey Ram," a prayer to Lord Rama. Even in the face of death, Gandhi remained calm and surrendered. He didn't die with fear or regret. He died with a prayer on his lips and peace in his heart. Gandhi's life teaches us that when we live in alignment with our highest values, we can face even the most terrifying moments with grace. We can die with a smile because we know we have lived well. But Gandhi's story isn't just for saints and spiritual leaders. It's for all of us. Each of us has the power to live in such a way that when death comes knocking, we're ready. We've lived our lives with integrity, with love, with purpose, and in that readiness, there is no fear, only peace. Now that we've explored the philosophy and stories from Indian culture, let's get practical. How can we take this wisdom and apply it to our own lives so that when the time comes, we too can die with a smile? Daily meditation and mindfulness. Start with a simple daily practice of mindfulness. Set aside just 10 minutes each day to sit quietly, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without judgment. This practice helps you become more present in your life, reducing anxiety about the future and helping you appreciate each moment. Gratitude practices. Cultivate gratitude in your life. Each night, before you go to bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. This simple habit shifts your focus away from what's missing or what's wrong in your life and toward what's beautiful and abundant. Resolve conflicts. Don't wait for tomorrow to fix broken relationships. Reach out to the people you love and make amends. Forgive those who've wronged you. Holding on to grudges and anger only weighs you down, and it can haunt you in your final moments. Resolve these conflicts now. so you can live and die with a lighter heart. Pursue your purpose. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you. Are you living according to your values? Are you pursuing your passions? If not, what can you change right now to start living a life of purpose? When you live in alignment with your Dharma, you find a deep sense of fulfillment that carries you through even the toughest times. Embrace rituals. Indian culture is rich with rituals that help us connect with the divine and with each other. Find rituals that bring you peace and make them a part of your life. This could be lighting a candle each morning, offering a prayer, or engaging in acts of service. Rituals help us stay connected to something greater than ourselves, reminding us that life and death are sacred. Surrender. Or practice the art of letting go. When you find yourself stressed or anxious about things beyond your control, take a moment to pause, breathe, and surrender. Remind yourself that not everything needs to be within your grasp. Trust in the flow of life. As we come to the end of this journey together, I hope you see now that dying with a smile isn't just some lofty ideal reserved for saints and sages. It's something each and every one of us can achieve simply by shifting our perspective and living with more intention. Death doesn't have to be something we fear. It can be a peaceful transition, a culmination of a life well lived. When we live each day with mindfulness, gratitude, purpose, and surrender, we prepare ourselves for that final moment. We align ourselves with the deeper rhythms of life and death, understanding that they are two sides of the same coin. So if you take anything away from this video, let it be this. Start living now. Live with intention. Live with love. Live with courage. And when the time comes, you will die, not with regret, but with peace, and maybe even a smile.